Hello and welcome to a very special edition of The New Hollywood. My name's David Price, and normally I'd be behind the scenes as producer of the show, but I'm filling in for host John Cluckie because he's my guest tonight. Welcome, John.
Hi, this is very strange.
Well, you're still sitting on your proper side, of course.
Did you want to sit here?
No, I wouldn't dream of it. Well, first of all, tell us why, as if I don't know the answer to this, why is the show special tonight?
Because this is the very last New Hollywood. It's going into videotape heaven. This is the very last show.
For endless reruns.
Yeah, this is it. So
now, before we get swamped with calls and letters,
yes.
Just make it clear, you're not going away for good, are you?
Oh, no. Be back in May with a brand new show, brand new format, and it's called Under the Covers.
Well, before we go into details
Yes.
about the new show, we should take time to look back at the last 10 years, because you've been doing this for 10 years, actually more than 10 years.
Actually 10 years, yeah, about 10 years, yeah. And we've got some clips of some of the fabulous faces that made up the New Hollywood, so, yeah.
Well, perhaps we should roll that. It's quite a long clip, but it's full of very interesting people, so let's go to a retrospective look at the New Hollywood.
Cute, very sexy, and you've never married.
Well, you see, we have so much to give up in marriage, whereas the average girl wants her freedom from her parents. She wants her own life. She wants to raise a family. She wants things that she can obtain only through marriage, so to speak. In our case, we've got the companionship. We have the complete understanding and empathy.
Berry, me, and Motown about her years with Berry Gordy and Motown Records. And before we showed the clip, you told me what he sold Motown Records for $61 million. You got a plaque. Why didn't you slap a lawsuit on him?
Well, what I did when he sold the company, that's when I decided to write my memoirs, because I still, in my heart, you know,
Believed he would take care of you?
I believed that he would take care of me. I saw no reason for him not to. The man is sensationally rich. You know, there's really, I still haven't put it together why, you know, he's chosen to leave things, you know, me with nothing at all.
Is there anything you wouldn't play, you'd be uncomfortable playing, like pedophile, rapist, wife beater?
I don't think the particular character would bother me. Whatever it is, it's what is the message of the movie? You know, I wouldn't want to be a pedophile in a movie that's, you know, glorifying pedophilia.
Okay.
But
so we won't ask you for the Michael Jackson story.
Ooh, ouch.
I shouldn't. I'm only joking. We are back talking with actress-singer Marianne Ramsey, and that sort of ditzy, high, squeaky-voiced woman you see on the screen is nothing like this beautiful, talented woman I have beside me. Tell me about, you based your character's voice on Michael Jackson?
Yeah, well, I figured before I walked in, I knew what the character was about, and I had 30 minutes to get to meet these people, and I just made it, and they said, "Oh, you must be the girl. Listen, she's got this little voice, and she's afraid of air, and she's, you know, if anybody looks at her, she cries. Do you think you could do it?" And I went, "Yes." Because the night before, Michael Jackson said, "Oh, you girls, do you want to come home with me?" And I thought, my God, he really does talk like that.
Let's discuss Bob Hope's womanizing. Prostitutes available in every city he toured in. Kept women in California. Women brought into the house right underneath Dolores' nose.
Right.
And yet, theirs was a very, very traditional Catholic home. Is Dolores Hope oblivious to this? Does she know about it? Does she care?
Well, she knows about it. She once tried to break it up between him and Marilyn Maxwell, and I don't know if she broke it up, but nothing came of that long affair, and that was one of his true loves. Her secretary, Marilyn Maxwell's secretary, told me that Hope had proposed to her, but that she turned him down because she said, "Dolores will never give you a divorce."
That was a mouthful.
I'm telling you, what a tremendous book. Waiting, Moving, Wild, and I'm surprised you're still here and looking gorgeous.
You're surprised. I'm shocked.
You were born in Puerto Rico, lived your boyhood years in Miami, moved to New York and became Holly Woodlawn. The Holly came from Truman Capote's Holly Golightly, Audrey Hepburn's character. Where did the Woodlawn come from?
Okay. Well, all right. Woodlawn?
Yes.
Oh, Woodlawn came from the Woodlawn Cemetery in New York. Actually, well, no, let me go back. All right. What happened was I met I used to hang out in a place called Max's Kansas City in New York, during the late 60s, where Andy Warhol used to hang out, and I wanted to be a superstar. So I went to a screening of one of his movies, and I had met him there, and he asked me what my name was, and at that time I only had Holly, you know. And so he said, well, don't you have a last name? And I said, no, I don't, but next time you see me, I'll have a last name.
Betty Davies and Joan Crawford went back before the cameras for Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte.
Yes.
Which, again, all hell broke loose, and Joan got sick and got fired from the picture. And
yeah, by this time, Betty really hated Joan, and they didn't speak. Betty would have cast parties in her trailer on location and not invite Joan.
Because it was set in a southern plantation.
Right, Louisiana. And Joan just felt ganged up on. Agnes Moorehead, who was one of the co-stars, and Betty became fast friends, and they would laugh and titter, and Joan always thought they were talking about her, and actually Agnes at one point admitted that they were talking about her because neither of them liked her.
I've always been a character actor. Even when I was 16, I never played leading roles. I was always kind of character, and I think that stood me in good stead these years. I have worked steadily for the past 30 years. And,
yeah, because I mean, when I was reading your bio, it was Lady Sings the Blues, Legal Eagles, 227, The Golden Girls, Generations, your own show.
And I was
Dangerous
on the Waltons for 9 years.
The Waltons for 9 years?
Yes, which was a wonderful experience, because it was a television series that had very sound values, and
yes.
I love those Christian values that it espoused, because you get so much negatives, I think, on television, sex and violence and what have you, which is nothing wrong with sex. Certainly something wrong with violence.
Each to their own, mind you. Yeah. It's said that you were Hollywood's first boy toy. And
Not
again,
first.
Well.
But boy toy.
Boy toy, okay.
Well, we played the game.
Yeah. And you had an affair with Cary Grant?
Yeah, we played the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that casting couch, you know, was as long as from Hollywood to Broadway.
And you lay on it?
I had the roundest heels in the world. I mean, I rolled off one couch onto another one.
I've heard both sides of the coin. One person told me extra work is really good for on-set experience. Another person told me keep doing it and it's death. How should an actor handle it?
I think that, now if you need to do it to pay the bills, all work is honest work. But I think if you continue to do it too long, you will get labeled by all the directors that you're an extra, and you won't be respected. It's better to have a waiter's job and be doing a play at night, and you will get more respect as an actor than you will be doing extra work and making money and not studying your craft, not getting better.
Because it's a small town.
Very small town. Show business itself is very small.
And he was on Bewitched. I mean, I loved him in Hollywood Squares, and he was also on Bewitched.
Uncle Arthur.
Which was a very
Full
gay
of
set,
people,
apparently.
Yes. Well, I did the book 2 years ago, Hollywood Lesbians, when I was last on your show, and one of the interviewees was Agnes Moorehead, who was the mother in Dora. And a lot of people under 40 only know Agnes Moorehead from Bewitched, although she was the character actress of Hollywood's golden era.
You did tell me that the last time you were on.
Yes.
And I just want to say for the record, I could care less who's gay. I'm only doing this for America. Okay?
No.
So I'm teasing.
Oh.
But,
right. Well, you know, in fact, Channel 4 of Britain had contacted me. They're thinking of doing a documentary on Bewitched about the gay and lesbian undertones, because Bewitched had so many gay people in it.
Darren?
The second Darren, Dick Sargent, was gay. Of course, Uncle Arthur, Paul Lynde, and Dora. Sometimes they had some guest stars, possibly Sam's father, who was a great Shakespearean actor, Morris Evans.
The Warlock?
Yes, the Warlock.
Oh, my God.
He may have been gay. I mean, again, it's hard to always be sure if someone is or is not, since everybody in showbiz says they are not, or at least used to.
You have how many gowns?
About 300 and some.
And they range in what price?
From $19 to $10,000.
So, and I've seen you in a $10,000 gown.
Yeah, Stephen York.
Heels, fabulous, fabulous jewelry.
Yeah, Kenneth Lane mostly.
The jewelry?
Yes.
But no wig?
Never.
Why?
And no badingas.
Why?
Well, why? Why should I?
Okay.
Anybody believes that I'm going to be a woman needs a German Shepherd and needs to lay down for a while. They've lost it.
I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed talking with my guests. I'm John Cluckie, and I'll see you again on The New Hollywood.
We're back, and I hope you enjoyed that retrospective look at the last 10 years of the new Hollywood, which has, at this show, come to an end. Now, that's a lot of hairstyles in 10 years.
That sure is.
Tell me, what was your favorite hairstyle?
Oh, I don't know. I guess slick back like today.
Yeah, it looks
I'd have
good
to
like
say
that.
that. Yeah,
you should stick with
that. If I'd kept it up with the colours, I think it ended up with no hair.
whatsoever.
I'd be all bald back there, as Joan Rivers said. Anyway.
How do you feel when you look back at
you know what? It's been a great gig. I've really enjoyed it. Met some amazing people through it, and you know, just it's just really nice to sit down for 27 minutes a week, and become somebody's best friend for that duration. And just, you know.
And you're not always their best friend. I mean, it's I can tell when you like someone on air.
I've liked most people.
I don't think most people would notice. But tell me, who did you really not get along with? Who was difficult?
You know what? Mr. Blackwell was a handful. Mr. Blackwell was absolutely horrendous. I mean, I actually think I grew my fangs that day. We went at it, barracuda to barracuda. When I finished taping Mr. Blackwell's show, I went home to bed for 3 hours. He exhausted me. I mean, he was very difficult. He was horrendous with the makeup people, horrendous with the lighting people. I mean, and I was basically going, look, sit down. You have to sit down. You can't treat people like this, blah, blah, blah.
But you were a professional, and you did allow him to sit where he wanted to. I think that was the only time you sat in this seat with
yeah, and I'd never do it again.
And you'd never do it again.
No, I wouldn't. I'd interview him again, and because when we got on the air, he was the most amazing guest. Great copy, great stories, but you know, a nightmare. Before we got on camera. But
I loved it when you said, "Oh, I read your book, and I laughed, and I almost cried." You said.
Well, there were a couple of dibs in there, and he was kind of sensitive about his age, and I said things like, let's go way back, your childhood, almost Dickensian. So, you know, there were like little paybacks, but it was a great show in the end, and I learned a lot from it, so, you know.
Yeah, I think we both did.
Yeah.
What about high points? Favorite guests?
Favorite guest, Lynn Hamilton, who was the lady in the red dress in the clips that used to be on Sanford and Son and the Waltons. She was such a love. I absolutely loved her. Marion Ramsey, the Del Rubio triplets. I love them so much. I mean, you know, and it's sad, but what's happened,
well,
because
we actually have a clip of their last appearance.
Because if I may just say, you know, that there are these three triplets that have been in Hollywood for years, appeared in all these TV shows. They live in a triple trailer in San Pedro. They've never been apart.
Working every day.
Working every day.
Charity work.
Maybe strange to some people, but you know, they're very, very sweet. They've never been apart, and then one of them died, and they come back though. Well, what the clip I think you're going to show, David, is they had not, the two remaining triplets, basically were devastated, and they had not done an interview since their sister passed on, and they gave me the first half-hour sit-down exclusive interview, which was a great coup for me, and also because they knew me,
and they love you too,
and I was very gentle with them,
and it was a very moving episode.
Yeah.
I think we should roll that now. The Del Rubio sisters talking about the loss of the third Del Rubio.
I need to bring this up because a lot of people have asked, how are you doing? Will you are you going to perform again soon? Because a lot of people miss you.
It's very difficult to say. It's very hard to say because it sounds very sad, and it is sad. We don't feel anything inside. We're dead inside, absolutely dead.
Did Edie, was it painless at least, or did she suffer?
She didn't.
Was it a long?
For at least 6 months, she kept saying that her back hurt her, and Millie had back trouble, and she went to a chiropractor, but lifting all those things that we carry for our show, all the equipment. So the chiropractor said, "I think I can fix Edie up too." But after about 4 treatments, he said, "I think it's worse than what I'm fearing it's worse." So
he said, "Edie, I'm not really a bona fide doctor, so to speak. You should go see a doctor."
she knew all along that it might lead to an operation, and that's the part that hurts so much because none of us have ever been to a doctor since we were 14 years old. We don't even go be tested, which possibly some people would say that's why she got the cancer. But we've been so healthy. And then to all of a sudden say that she had a tumor in her colon and then it was cancerous and it was possibly...
It doesn't run in the family.
It was, she didn't even want the operation. I said, Edie, we all agreed that you wouldn't have to go if you didn't want to, if you don't want the operation.
Because you've never been separated either.
Never,
so
ever.
It's
really been
I mean, she must have been so frightened and...
She was
well,
scared,
she was
what
a
a
brave little soul she was. I mean,
we were Catholic. And
we're back, and that was the Del Rubio sisters. Now, that was a scoop. That was the first time they appeared.
That was the first time. They had just released Anthology, which is a double CD, which was a tribute to their sister. And, you know, I had spoken to them on the phone. I had gone to her memorial service, which was an amazing tribute to her because Roseanne was there. Roseanne, Ali Willis, Pee Wee Herman, lots of people from the industry. It was very industry heavy. Jennifer Lewis was there. But it was really... they were just devastated. They were just dead inside. And then they released this album, Anthology, which is
a great tribute to their
great
work,
tribute.
their body of work.
And
now, on the subject of scoops, though, is there anything that's got away from you that you wish you'd got?
The biggest regret I've got through all this was I had on Berry Gordy's ex-wife from Motown Records.
Who was on the clip?
Yeah, Renona. Great guest. And she had said to me casually in the green room, I said, it's a great book. She's like, well, you know, there's something missing from it. Berry Gordy is the father of Diana Ross's eldest child. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you can ask me on the air. It didn't make it to the book because, you know, it would have got held up in lawyers' offices for the longest time. It would have got released eventually because it's true. And I'm like, she's like, bring it up. And I'm like, wow. Anyway, we do half the show and then we show a clip that made up some of the faces, you know, some of the faces from Motown Records. And then while the clip was running, you know, you chat to the guest and you okay, blah, blah, blah. She's like, bring up the fact that Berry's Diana Ross's eldest child's daughter. And I was like, you know, I just can't. I mean, what if that girl's watching this show? And I love Diana Ross, you know, so my loyalty to Diana Ross went out and I didn't bring it up. 2 weeks later, she's on the Joan Rivers show. Of course, Joan
she went for it.
Breaks the scoop. It's picked up by every TV station and newspaper throughout the world. So I could have just...
That could have been you.
Could have been me, but you know what?
Out of your loyalty to Diana Ross.
I know. I hope she'll remember that someday. When she writes a book, she'll come on the new show. But
now you're an easy guest to interview because you've got lots of stories. You know, you're very responsive. It's kind of difficult if you've got somebody who's dead in the water. Have you had experiences like that?
You know what? On the whole, that actually everybody has been pretty good. Apart from there was one guy who's a very famous director, and unlike Kazan, I will not name names, but he's a very famous director, and he worked on a movie with Raul Julia. And I met him at a party one night, and we got chatting, and he was telling the most wonderful stories, and the whole party was just a complete uproar. I mean, he was hysterical, this guy. So I said to him, you should come on. He said, oh, I'd love to. Anyway, he arrives 2 weeks later, and with this lighting chart, he wanted the set. He was a bit worried about how he looked because he was in his 60s. Well, there was more gauze on that set than a Barbara Walters Oscar special.
More than we have now.
We don't have gauze. There was more gauze than the Barbara. I swear to God. He ended up looking 36. I ended up looking like the host from kindergarten. I looked 6. Fair enough. He wanted to look good. That's no problem. But I would ask him a question like, Raul Julia, I mean, what a wonderful experience. Tell me how he prepares for a role. Yeah, he's good.
And that was it?
Yes, no, yes, no. So we showed a clip from the movie and I'm like, his name, you've got to work with me. You're giving me nothing. Oh, he said, I'm just really, really nervous. I said, I know, but it's just you, me, you know. You're fine. You work on movie sets, for God's sake. You're world famous. Nothing. What a dreadful interview.
Who would you really, really want to interview? Who's a dream guest for you?
Who would be a dream guest for me? I'd love to get Sherry Lansing and Bob Evans and Geffen, Spielberg, just the new moguls, and then people that worked for the old moguls, like the Coens, the Zanucks, you know, Louis B. Mayer, people that worked for them, just the difference in how because you know, the pioneers versus who the star system, they made it, they basically built this business, and then the new people who it's all business now and lawyers, and I would just love to sit with them, and of course Diana Ross.
Not Tracy Ullman?
Of course, Tracy Ullman as Linda Granger. Darling.
Of course.
Yeah, and I'd love to.
Now she recognized you. Now Tracy Ullman is somebody you are so into. It's unbelievable.
God.
And she recognized you from the TV.
Well, seeing as you bring it up.
Was that a kick in the pants or what?
It was. You know what? We were at. She was signing her book at Virgin Records, and her videotapes. And I went up to get some videotapes for a friend's birthday and get them signed. And she said to me, and I took her a box of tea, because, you know, she's British, I'm British, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, you're so sweet. She said, I know you from somewhere. I said, I don't know. She said, TV, I watch your show. I swear to God, just picked me off the floor at Virgin Records. Yeah. And she was so sweet. She walked me into a corner and we had a little private conversation. She gave me a scoop about her show. She was, Tracy Ullman, I love you. Come on the next show.
As Linda
Granger, please.
Plugging her book.
I'm Still Here.
And what's the full title of this book? The full title of I'm Still Here?
I'm Still Here, the Linda Granger story, my personal struggle with alcohol, disease, and personal misfortune.
Good, I'm glad you got that in.
I love Tracy Ullman. I love Tracy Ullman.
So has anyone stumped you or thrown you for a loop?
You know, Gypsy was very unpredictable as a guest.
She's good with non sequiturs. Yeah.
Oh, hysterical. And also, there was a very funny thing happened with Gypsy, that we taped the show, and you were there, and we taped the show, and it was a great show. And he had told me about this dress that somebody designed for him, and he said, you know, and I'm not going to mention the designer's name because they're still alive, but Gypsy said, and the designer's no longer with us. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, they passed on. Well, anyway, the next day I get this phone call, and it's like, darling, it's Gypsy. And I'm like, yeah, hi, Gypsy. It's like, we got to kill that interview. The designer's alive. I saw him in a restaurant last night. So we had to tape it again the following week, but he was a great guest. Yeah. It's kind of fun to watch other people react. Like if you've got 2 or 3 guests
I hear a segue coming. We have another clip of a favourite of yours, Mark Smith.
Yeah, my very good friend Mark.
And Michael Greer talking about their experiences on the stage and what they want to do. So let's run that clip.
1998.
Yes, indeed.
Let's go to 2008. What do you want to be doing? What do you want to be doing?
More film. I'd love to do a series. I'd like to do a comedy cooking show in much this kind of a situation. Called Kitchen Man. I have the premise, I have it, and I want to be this. I can't cook, but my guests.
Oh yeah.
And I make comments, you know. And I have a parrot that says, "Don't eat that, don't eat that." The garbage disposal says, "What are you giving me now?" You know, I'd love to do a comedy cooking show. I really would.
I want to learn how to cook so I can be on his damn show.
That's right. Hey.
We're back. Makes you chuckle every time.
You know what? Because Michael Greer is kind of off the wall. I mean, I love Michael; he's off the wall. But where the cooking show came from, and it was just funny. It was very subtle. But Mark Smith was kind of like, where did that come from?
Now we haven't got much time, so we need to look ahead, having been looking back.
Yeah.
What is the new show about? Tell us all about it.
Okay, it's called Under the Covers, and it's going to focus on biographies, either authorized or unauthorized. The unauthorized are normally juicier. Specifically about the entertainment industry, Hollywood, TV movies.
It's called Under the Covers because...
It's called Under the Covers because, well, you go under the covers of a book,
and
then we'll tie that into, we'll shoot the show in bed,
Great.
Under the Covers.
With your guests in bed too.
Guests in bed, and we will also do, every celebrity's got a website now, so we'll do bookmark segment. We'll also go to in-store appearances and interview people who are waiting in line to see why this book is so important for them to get signed, and then go into the store and talk to the star who's signing the books.
Great.
Because they stay behind, you know, I don't know if people know this. The star stays behind and signs the books for 5 hours afterwards, so you can still get an autographed copy, but that's because you can't return them. Very smart.
Very smart.
So,
very smart.
and we're going to have a website for Under the Covers, and I'm really looking forward to it because it's I also got all the free books from the publicist. So
and that's a very
call me shallow. But I'm really, really looking forward to it. The New Hollywood's been great, but it's time to focus on just one avenue now, which is books. And there's no show out there that is completely dedicated to
just
entertainment books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, John, thank you for the privilege of being the last person on your show.
David, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you very much.
We've all watched you for the last 10 years, and we'll be watching for you in Under the Covers. So I'll sign off now and have John say his thank yous. So good night.
Well, it's been a great gig, and it's time to move on, and I'm really looking forward to doing Under the Covers. And I want to say a very special thank you to the viewers who've stayed with me this past 10 years. I appreciate your comments, your feedback. Come back in May for Under the Covers. I'd like to say thank you very much to Shelley Banks. What a pro. That's for you, Shelley. And David, I couldn't have done it without you. I look forward to working with you on the next show. Thank you very much. You're the best. Thanks to the fabulous crew here at Media One. I'll see you guys in May. I'm John Cluckie. This is the New Hollywood final show. Goodbye. See you in May for Under the Covers. Good night.
I'm going to Hollywood, Hollywood, but Hollywood to be a star. Hollywood, Hollywood City.